a government budget and reaping the sort of funds you see in the defence area of spending. Well, that's what campaigners are saying as they urge an overhaul to the hostile family separation process. Here with details, Helen Adam, who's chair of the Family Solutions Group. Just before we drill into the detail, just explain in a sentence, if you would, what's the Family Solutions Group? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Thank you for having me here. So the Family Solutions Group is a multidisciplinary group of people with expertise working with separating families. And we're not a big group, there's only 14 of us, but between us we've got 400 years of professional experience working with families who separate. And their needs are obvious, it's not rocket science, people need help when they separate. But sadly, that's not available in this country. The only thing we offer is the open door of the family court. So that's needed for some, but what about everyone else? That's what this is about.
I'm going to ask you how that might be brought about, but I've got to drill down. I've got to question you about this headline. It's a heck of a headline. You're saying these overhauls could bring in as much as the entire defence budget in the United Kingdom. I think we're looking at around 50-something billion pounds. How did you get those figures?
Those figures were done by the Relationship Foundation, and that's a 2018 figure, up from £37 billion 10 years previously. This is the ripple effect of separations that are badly managed, which lead to harm, which impact children. We now have clear evidence that children's brain development is harmed when they grow up in a toxic environment of parental conflict. And of course, that continues and spills out. And so the cost to society covers all aspects of society. There's the social care cost, health, work, education, it affects tax and benefits, housing, the criminal justice system. It affects so much of our society, and that is how they arrive at that figure. And we're saying that with some fairly modest cost up front in gathering around families when they separate at an early stage, there could be multiple savings across all departments. But of course, they won't be seeing the savings immediately. These savings will go on through life, through a generation, and to follow.
Well, let's come to the $64,000 question, or the £50+ billion question. What needs to be done that is different? What needs to be done differently that's currently being done? What needs to be done that's not being done? Helen?
So, well, Nick, the one thing that is known when families separate, I mean, you can probably tell me, the one provision that there is that everybody knows about is what? It's the family court. Yes. Everybody knows there's a family court.
Yes.
Does anybody know that there's anything else?
Well, I do through personal experience, but sadly and because I had a great divorce lawyer, but I fear many people are not made aware of other processes that are in place.
Yeah. So the problem we have is that the only provision, the formal provision offered through government is the family court. Now, don't get me wrong, there are families who absolutely need access to the family court. It plays a vital role in our society. But that's well under half of the families who separate.
Right.
And for the others, for the 280,000 children whose parents separate every year, what support or help is there? And what we're saying is the problem lies with the fact that nobody takes responsibility for these families and for the welfare of children whose parents separate.
So whose role should that be in your view?
Well, I don't mind whether it falls with education or with health, but it has to fall somewhere. We have met countless people over the last year to say, where does this lie? A senior parliamentarian said she was going to knock on the door of every government department to ask, where do these separating families lie? And the answer is nowhere. There is nowhere. And I would want to say, and a key message from today for everyone, and please, if you're listening, and if this is an area that is important to you, ask your MP which government department is responsible for families who separate. Because until we get somebody somewhere overseeing this massive cohort in society, then we're stuck. We've met with the DWP, Family Hubs, we've met with the MOJ, with Anna Freud, with CAFCAS, with the Early Intervention Centre, with the Children's Commissioner, and everybody nods and says this is a really important thing to get right. But of course, until somebody has responsibility, then these children are lost, really, while parents slog it out, and they know that the only provision is the family court. And so, of course, if you frame everything as a fight, that's how people behave.
Grateful for your time. Helen Adam, thank you. You chair the Family Solutions Group. You can go on the Family Solutions Group website to get more details on that. Thank you for your input today.